everyone, welcome back to Into the Books. I'm Irene, and today's episode it's intended to be, let's say, helpful. The other day I was in a bookstore and I met a woman who told me I'd like to read more, but I don't know where to start. I have very little time on my hands and I have no idea what kind of titles I might like. With her words, a light bulb just went on in my head and I immediately thought, why not make a YouTube episode where I tell you about 12 great books? One title for each month of the year. Then in this way, I could help those who have very little time to devote to reading, but still want to do it. So, without further ado, let's get started. Oh, last thing, I will not be reviewing any fantasy books in this episode. If any of you are interested in that genre, I will be releasing an episode in a few days where I will talk specifically about it. So I suggest you keep an eye out for that release so you can check it out. For this month, I have chosen A Room of One's Own by Virginia Woolf. The book talks exactly about that. The importance of having a space of our own where we can discover who we really are. In 1928, Virginia Woolf recognized how therapeutic it is to write in order to free ourselves from all the silent demons that lie within each of us. And without a doubt, I chose this book because I still remember the feeling of excitement I experienced when I finished reading it, and I hope you can feel that excitement too. February is known as the month of love, but the book I have chosen for this month is not exactly what I would call love's friend. Yes, indeed. Fair Rosaline by Natasha Solomons is a passionate, emotional and captivating book, but I must tell you, it will also make you angry. This book is kind of a crossover with Romeo and Juliet, and we all know who Romeo chooses in the end, but Rosaline didn't deserve it. I recently did an episode about this book where I talk about it in depth, so if you want to know more, I'll leave the link to that video in the description box below. If this book does not convince you, you can always go to the source. Nothing is better than reading the love story par excellence in the month of love, Romeo and Juliet by William Shakespeare. March is the month of spring, and what a better book than Fresh Water for Flowers by Valérie Perrin. In this novel, flowers will be with us throughout this journey. At times, they will be a happy memory, and at other times, we will hardly be able to bear their presence, or rather the reason for their presence. In this wonderful book, Valérie shows us that death is not only a physical death. The worst death is the death of the soul while the body is still alive. It really takes a lot of courage to get through such a situation. April is known in some parts of the world as the month of the wind, so the book The Shadow of the Wind by Carlos Ruiz Zafón is perfect for this month. This self-contained book is captivating, rich of plots and mysteries, and full of twists and turns. Zafón's writing style is so engaging that it's almost impossible to put this book down. You will love it. The month of May was named after Auxo, the Greek goddess of growth. So I thought it would be a good idea to talk about some reading related to Greek mythology, but with a modern twist. To that end, I recommend Circe by Madeline Miller. Most of the books out there about Greek myths are just collections of short stories. This one is a real novel, a book full of charm, adventure and anchor in the mythology that is present throughout the text. The book is so beautifully written that it compels you to figuratively surrender to it and the stories it tells, to enter into a real and close chit-chat that will leave you amazed. In June, we fly high, very high, above the clouds. The protagonist of this month is the book The Kite Runner by Khaled Hosseini. The spirit that Hosseini gave to his characters is what explains throughout the reading some aspects of this tormented land, robbed of its natural riches, where women and children are victims of some pseudo-men who unfortunately were themselves children raised in an environment where hatred and violence were considered something almost natural. For the United States, July is the month of independence, freedom, and that's why I chose I Know Why Caged Birds Sing by Maya Angelou. This is a beautiful book that reveals to some people an unknown world for them. The life of the African American community in the first half of the 20th century, the total segregation from the white world, the importance of the Christian church, and the social difficulties faced by the people of color. Masterfully written and with a great sense of humor that permeates the entire book, even though it often deals with tragic events. In the heart of summer, August, there is no better reading than Eleanor Oliphant is Completely Fine by Gail Honeyman. The author exposes the delicate subject of anxiety in a really touching way. Eleanor, the protagonist of the novel, is a character that most likely reflects someone you know in real life. Eleanor is an ordinary woman with an ordinary job, like many of us. So, if you're willing to meet a character that will amaze you, because believe me, in the end she will do so, this is the right book. For many of us, September is the month that represents the beginning of something. It's as if we need to make concrete changes in our lives after the summer. With this in mind, I think Shantaram by Gregory David Roberts is perfect. This superbly written book is based on a true story of the author, and it all revolves around a journey. This book gives us detailed descriptions, journeys, personal growth, encounters, adventures, evolution, and a mixture of emotions that makes you not want to stop reading and read it with extreme caution to savor every word and delay reaching the end. Highly recommended. October is the spooky month, so there's nothing better to dive into the mystery of the unknown than The Seventh Death of Evelyn Hardcastle by Stuart Tartan. I must confess that I found this book to be a revelation. It is interesting, cleverly written, and has an ingenious plot. Stuart Tartan has done an amazing job of setting up the whole scenario in a way that keeps the readers interested, but at the same time keeps them confused almost until the very end. This story reminds me a bit of Agatha Christie's style. Maybe it's because it's all about a mystery, or maybe it's because they are both set in the 1930s. Probably both, but what is certain is that this is a great novel. Isabella Allende's novel The House of the Spirits is perfect for the month of November. This book deals with dramatic historical events, but they are described very lightly, which is one of the most important characteristics of the book. Another really interesting aspect is to see that with Isabella Allende, nothing should be taken for granted. This book makes us think about our actions and how much they affect our lives and those of future generations regardless of their relevance. It is a wonderful family story. For the last book of this year, we have the quintessential Christmas story. I'm talking about The Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens. Many of you have probably heard of this story. Or maybe you have seen the many films or cartoons that have been made about or based on this novel. But have you ever read it? If the answer is no, let me give you a few reasons why I believe that if you give this book a chance, you won't regret it. This is a story that reminds us the importance of generosity and compassion for others, and drives us to reflect on our lives and our relationships with others. This novel is one of the most beautiful books ever written, and I strongly recommend to anyone who wants to experience the magical excitement of literature. This story is simply magical, engaging and touching, a simple and enjoyable read, suitable for both young and adults. Thank you for joining me through the end of this year. I have created this list for the sole purpose of optimizing your time while expanding your horizons. Let me know if you have any books you would like to recommend, or if you have already read any of the books mentioned above. Please leave your comments or opinions below. I would love to read them. I invite you to subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell, and share this video with someone you think might be interested. As usual, I'll see you next week.